England versus Croatia.
I think they'll go through.
I'd like to see more attacking, really.
I'm happy about the win.
Welcome to our second episode of our Euro 2020 podcast with me, Mielczarek, Chris, James, and our editor, Eddie. Today we'll be focusing on the recent games that have passed: Italy, Turkey, and of course England and Croatia. But most importantly, we want to start off with what happened to Christian Eriksen on Saturday in Copenhagen when Denmark was taking on Finland. Christian Eriksen has suffered cardiac arrest, and thanks to the quick response from the Danish team, Dr. Merton Bussen and Simon Kjær, Christian Eriksen survived this incident. Well, hello guys. What guys can tell me about this? Eriksen.
It was unbelievable, really. You just don't expect that in a football match. I mean, everyone's getting ready for the Euros and getting really excited about it, and you just don't expect anything like that from a player who's so kind of fit and healthy. So yeah, it was such a shock, really. But I think you're right that the response of all the medical teams was so amazing, and it shows how much we kind of rely on them. And it's the best place for that to happen, really, on a football pitch. If you're going to have a heart attack anywhere, having it, around all those sort of medics and professionals, it's almost like he's in hospital already, if you know what I mean. So it was amazing, and obviously I thought to go out to his family and his teammates who reacted so well in forming that kind of fence around him to shield him from the cameras. That was amazing, really.
Yeah, I was having a talk with James yesterday. Like, what if that just happened to one of us? We were going for a run or something like that, and that happened. Like, it's very good they had all these medical team around him while he was playing, things like that. We were talking about that, weren't we, James, yesterday?
Yeah, I think that imagine if something did happen to him, then that might traumatize that entire team. And he's still very young. I think it was come as a shock to everyone. But I mean, on the positive side, at least he seems to be okay. So hopefully he'll get some good medical advice whether he can continue his career or not.
Mm-hmm. You do kind of feel, if it happened to, I was sat watching the TV, and I thought if that happened to be right then, I was just sat on my own. I think there's nobody around to kind of resuscitate me or to call the ambulance. I could be dead. And say I'm on a run, if I'm on a country road in the middle of nowhere, there's nobody around, then I could be it. So he was really in a lucky situation being around all his teammates who reacted so well, and the medics who knew what they were doing as well, and the kind of stoppage that allowed them to help him and resuscitate him and take him to the hospital. I think they say that every minute you're not helped drops 13% off your chance of survival. So say you were on a run, and even if it's 5 minutes for someone to find you, that's 60% less chance of you surviving. So it's mad, really, when you think about how lucky he was. In Fabrice Muamba, he was similar in 2012. He had a heart attack on the pitch in an FA Cup game, and he's still alive, but he doesn't play football anymore. And he thought if he wasn't on the pitch, it might well have ended differently.
Yeah, luckily, due to the quick response from the team and the doctors, Eriksen survived the cardiac arrest, which is unbelievable that happened to an athlete like that. But this begs a question, two questions: is it modern football? Is there too many games played recently now? And second thing, should the game be carried on that day?
It's hard to say, really. I mean, if you think about when the stoppage they had was about an hour and a half before it restarted, and they were saying on the radio that there's no way they can restart it. It's never going to restart. I mean, if you think at football grounds in non-league, they'll cancel a match because the pitch is all muddy, and you get these pitches that are bogged down with mud, and in the 50s they would have played like that, and now a match is cancelled fairly sort of easily. In that situation where he's nearly died, it's gone ahead. So I felt like it was the wrong decision. But it's true that there's been a lot of games, and maybe that's contributed to him being in that sort of situation. So and there are procedures in place for replaying games if they have to be cancelled because of COVID. So you'd assume they could sort of use those same procedures in this situation as well.
Going off on that point, I don't think we see this that much in this sport compared to others as well, and it makes you realise it can happen in any kind of sport. You see it more in UFC, boxing, but it kind of brings it home. Like everybody, our age, you played football once. Like it's definitely in this country as well. Like it's a big deal, and it kind of brings it close to home. Like this could have been one of us, you know what I mean, or it could be someone you know.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that I think that the match should have been postponed until today for like 2 days until Monday. So I was surprised they continued, but at least I think they didn't want any fixture congestion, and I think that Christian Eriksen said that he wanted them to play, so that's why they played on.
Yeah, I agree with you, James. I heard that Eriksen wanted them to play, but I also think that the game should have been postponed. And we're going to swiftly kind of move into that game, Denmark-Finland. I don't think that Finland would have won if not for that incident, because Denmark were absolutely dominating Finland. Finland only had one shot on the goal, and that was the goal. And Denmark had around 22 or 25 shots, and they missed the penalty because clearly they were distraught. So yeah, it puts Finland in a good position. They are the debutants. They never played in a major European tournament. But it's kind of unfair, isn't it? But on the other hand, football is unfair.
They could have given a point to each team. Just said, look, we'll call it 0-0. There's a point.
Yeah, because it's hard to play if your mate is fighting for his life. Because at that time, they still wasn't fully sure if he's going to make it when they resumed the game. It was only the next day where they were like, yeah, he forced him. So
I do feel like, Finland winning that game is their first appearance at a major tournament ever, and Denmark, well, not a bad side, they're a pretty decent team, decent players like Eriksen himself and Schmeichel and others as well. It's a shock result, and Finland were sort of on the back foot before Eriksen went injured, so you sort of feel, hey, it's a massive win for them. They've not had many successes. The best I can think of in Eurovision, they did well in the mid-noughties, which is not really linked, but it's their biggest win since then, maybe. So they'll be dwelling on this for a long time, I'm sure. But yeah, circumstances are very much not ideal, and I think in reality, if Eriksen hadn't have had that medical issue, they might not have won. Finland knows.
Yeah. Before we move on to the more fun parts of the podcast, do you think that Eriksen should continue his career, or do you think he should call it quits?
Yeah, I think that whatever the medical advice is, he should go with that. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree.
With you.
Down to doctors, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on now to England versus Croatia. The game yesterday, England beat Croatia 1-0. Goal from Raheem Sterling, assisted by Calvin Phillips. What do you guys think of the game? It was so anticipated, Croatia revenge at Wembley. Did you expect a win?
I think England deserved to win, and going into the game, I would have thought really should be beating this team. They've had a lot of players retire from international football in the last few years, like sort of Rakitic and Mario Mandzukic. So their only sort of star player now is Luka Modric, who's in his 30s now. He's probably 11 or 12 years past his peak. So I think England have dominated the game and could have won 3-4-0 in reality. So it was a good win for England. I think now as well it sets them up well for the Scotland and Czech Republic games. Really, if they win either of them, they're probably going to win the group. So they can now start to sort of ease off, not be complacent, but start to look forward to the round of 16 and perhaps rest players in the third game if possible.
If I could just add something to the game, I think we played really well in the first 20 minutes, and once we got that first goal from Raheem Sterling, I think I'm happy about the win, but I didn't think we played against a great Croatia side. As you said, Chris, they're not the team they used to be. But I'm still a bit cautious about after the group stages, how far we're going to get if we go against better teams. I'd say that's how I was happy about the win, but I'm a bit worried about the future in the tournaments. What do you think, James, of the game?
Yeah, I agree with more agree with Eddie than Chris. I like Chris's positive attitude, the positive sense that we won, got the 3 points, and there were shots on goal, there were chances to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that Gareth Southgate needs to play with the handbrake off. You've got Jadon Sancho, you've got Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane, all this attacking talent, but he seems to be very much going for hedging his bets on getting one goal and then defending for the rest of the game to get the win. I really want us to see us attack more and get the goals and try and win games 2-3-0. I really like to see, I put that on Twitter earlier, I like to see more attacking really from us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think Eddie makes a good point that the likes of Portugal, Germany, Belgium, Spain, France might really roast England. So they need to play, they need to finish their chances really.
I kind of agree with you, James, but I don't think that England played too defensively. Yes, I think they have enough firepower to be more offensive, but it's also it was the first game of the tournament against the toughest opponent in the group, Croatia, and Croatia wasn't being the best team that they can be. Obviously, they are now going for changes, and England had the advantage of playing at home at Wembley, but it was a clear win from England. In the first 10 minutes, Phil Foden could have opened the game already. I think Croatia defended well. England, to be fair, they weren't tested enough by Croatia. Croatia was a bit disappointing. But to be fair, should England worry over teams like Portugal, Germany? If they are building a squad to win the Euros. That's the aspiration, to win the Euros. Sooner or later, England is going to have to face, Portugal, France, Germany, Spain, and England or the England fans shouldn't be worried about that because I think they have enough strength to overcome any of those teams. And I think that game showed, even though it wasn't, it only finished 1-0, but I think Croatia was also very defensively orientated, and teams like France, Germany, or Portugal, they are not going to be so much defensively orientated. They'll be more attacking as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. England started really well with Foden. Yeah, that chart, and it's sort of after you saw them sort of not convert those chances in the first 20 minutes, it went a bit sort of quiet after that, and they lost their momentum. And what grabbed my eye in that point, I was a bit bored. I saw a photo of Jesse Lingard on Instagram. I don't know if any of you saw this. He's in a pub. He's got like a parrot on his shoulder. It's like, I don't really understand that. He's in a pub, Jesse Lingard, watching the game.
Oh. With
a parrot. That seems a bit odd. I don't really understand why. But anyway, he's clearly not taken the left out squad too badly, because he's clearly enjoying himself, him and his parrot. So I don't know, but anyway, he's clearly not missed.
He's bitter because he didn't get in the squad.
Maybe he just wants the parrot to repeat everything he says. He says, "I'm a good player," and the parrot repeats it. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, England played really well, and in the second half, Sterling he grew up not far from Wembley, so it's nice to score his first goal in a major tournament at the stadium. So yeah, that was great. That's really good.
That also brings us to Eddie, go on, Eddie.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you can't have a go at Southgate because one of the players Sterling's not a young player. There's many other young options, but then again, Southgate's proven me wrong. Like, he's picked a player who has played in the last World Cup, and he scored a goal. So yeah, sorry, Chris, you can move on.
I was going to say that I was surprised that England beat Croatia. I honestly was adamant that they were going to draw 1-1 and that they weren't going to win because they don't seem to win their opening games. So kudos to them for winning. Scotland will want to beat them. They'll be out to beat them. So let's hope that that'll be a win. I think that's what we're moving on to, isn't it?
Yeah, I just want to say about Southgate as well, that some people are moaning about him or having a go at him, but to be fair, he's a ruthless manager. He doesn't get attached to surnames. He didn't take Barkley or Dyer. He used to always take those players onto major tournaments like the World Cup, but now he's seen that Barkley or Dyer are out of form, and he chose to pick different people. He doesn't attach to players that he knows. He experiments, and I think that's for the better for the team. I think that enriched the team.
Did Dyer not go? I thought Dyer went.
No, Dyer.
He's a stalwart. He scored that penalty against Colombia.
Yeah, but that was 3 years ago, and now he's not on that form. Yeah, we're going to move on to Scotland, England, the preview. But you, James, said that Scotland would want to beat England, but there's no chance. Quite frankly, what Scotland shown today against Czech Republic, I don't think they have any chance against England.
I agree. I think they're going to lose. They played okay, I thought, against Czech Republic. They kind of created a few chances, and Andy Robertson had a few sort of decent shots. But if they can't beat Czech Republic, I'm not sure if they can beat England or Croatia. So I guess it's curtains for them, and a lot of Scottish people always take the mick out of England for getting really hyped up in big tournaments. I think they've done the same. Got really hyped up, saying, "Yeah, I'm going to be in knockout stages. It's going to happen." And now they've lost 2-0 to Czech Republic. So I think maybe their hopes and dreams are maybe a little bit dampened now.
But Chris, they've got you. They've got Andy Robertson lookalike.
I don't know about that. I don't look like him, I don't think, but whatever.
Yeah, basically, England Scotland is on Friday, isn't it? The game.
Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night. Yeah, I think it's going to be 3-0 to England. Although I agree that it's like a home rivalry.
Yeah.
So that might make it a bit more, different.
Isn't it quite a traditional game? Like it's one of that was like the oldest rivalry. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
England versus Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But moving away from that, before we move to different games, Croatia is our team of the week, actually.
So we have our other predictions for the England Scotland.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go
on. I'm just going to say another 1-0.
1-0. I'm going to say 3-0 to England. I think I can see us getting a few goals, maybe one for Kane, and I think that will sort of seal our place in knockout stages, and then we'll be sort of through from that. I think.
I'm going to say 1-0. I don't see us playing that attacker, but yeah, 1-0.
Yeah, I think Gareth Southgate will try to save players now, knowing he won the toughest game in the group, and we'll see. But I think it's not going to be big of a challenge. I don't think so. But anyway, moving to Croatia, because Croatia is our team of the week. Do you think they can pull themselves up after suffering the defeat against England?
Yeah, I think they can. I think that I thought that they were going to do better against England because they've got a very experienced team. They have something like 400 caps in midfield with Mateo Kovacic and Luka Modric. And they still have Ivan Perisic. So they've still got some good players. Kramaric as well. I think that they will, if they can beat Czech Republic, which I think they will, I don't think that'll be a draw. I think they'll win that. I think they'll beat Scotland in the final game. So, yeah, I think they'll go through.
I think they'll go through. I can see them beating Scotland. I'm not sure about Czech Republic. They might struggle there. I think Czech Republic beat Scotland convincingly there, but I think if they get a draw in that game and then beat Scotland, that's 4 points, and I can imagine that'll get them through. So yeah, they can be confident, I think, of getting a knockout stage. And now, obviously, if you come third, you can still go through if you get enough points. So teams can be a little bit more sort of laid back and not worried that much, like in the World Cup, where obviously you got to come top two in your group. Whereas now, obviously, if you come third, you can still go through. I think it's only 8 teams who are going to go out now in the group stage. All the other teams are going to go through. So that's kind of quite it's quite different to the World Cup, I guess.
Yeah, I think that Croatia will probably be second. probably being Scotland. Czech Republic is an interesting one. They have a great squad with Soucek, Patrick Schick, who scored 2 goals against Scotland today. After beating Scotland, Czech Republic kind of flying high. They have this motivation, this morale. So I think they can push on against Croatia. And Croatia, on the other hand, they have to find this motivation and this morale. So it's going to be a clash of 2 different attitudes, I think, in the game between Czech Republic and Croatia. Okay, I think we're going to move on now to Group A, which was the opening match between Turkey and Italy in Rome. Italy won 3-0, goals from Ciro Immobile, Lorenzo Insigne, and an own goal from Demiral. Did you guys expect Italy to fly past Turkey so easily?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I think their attack actually quite surprised me. Traditionally, I've known Italy for being very well organised defensively. Chiellini's still playing. He's getting on quite a bit, but he still played well. I expected Italy to definitely win it, but I didn't know they were that well. I don't know, their attack just surprised me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, they played well. I mean, it's true. You sort of think of them as being a little bit sort of past it now. I mean, in the World Cup in 2018, I didn't even qualify. So it's amazing really that they managed to sort of turn it around in the Mancini. And they were convincing, yeah. I mean, I'm sure home advantage was in their favour. And obviously not for Turkey. But, I didn't expect them to sort of get so far with Chiellini, he's been playing for a good 15 years, I think. I'm not sure if he was there and he won the World Cup in 2006, but certainly not long after was when he joined. So I was surprised he won so well, and a lot of people sort of tipped Turkey. And I feel I see tipped Turkey as being a sort of a dark horse. Maybe that's gone in the bin now. But that's going to have to be cut into a clip. But if you've had Turkey in a sweepstake, maybe they're not going to do as well as people thought, and they've kind of failed to live up to the expectations that some people had.
Yeah, I thought that Turkey would cause some problems actually for Italy. So well done to Italy for getting through that game, and it looks like they could probably top the group now.
Yeah, I don't think I was surprised. I think in last week's predictions, I said that Italy's going to win the Euros. I went against everyone saying France, and there's a reason for it. They're unbeaten in 29 or 30 games now. And by the way, Chiellini's debuted for Italy in 2004, so he was in the World Cup team. So there's a lot of pressure on them, and also expectations. They played at home. I was more disappointed with Turkey. I expect Turkey to be more strong, but perhaps Italy was just too strong for them. A team that absolutely cut them out. They couldn't do anything, and maybe Turkey will show the true colors in the next game against Wales, isn't it? Play Wales, yeah.
Yeah, Wales in their game against Switzerland actually didn't play too bad, I thought. I mean, it's hard for them to live up to what they've done in 2016, but certainly that group is not an easy one for them. There's 4 teams there that wouldn't look at our place in knockout stages, any of them really. So they've got a tough group, but getting a draw against Switzerland is not a bad result for Wales, I think. And if they can beat Turkey now, I'd say they're in the knockout stage. But obviously that's not in any way guaranteed. And Turkey we think the same about Wales. If they can beat Wales, then I think we're into the knockout stages if we can get a point then against Switzerland. So I think that Wales are going to be not too disheartened by that, and they can move on and hopefully for them sort of succeeded in a game against Turkey and then against Italy. So
I think Wales were lucky to get a draw with Switzerland. It's kind of fault of the Swiss, because when they scored the game, they didn't push for another goal. They defended, and that was the worst decision they could have made, because it made Wales score a goal, and then after that they tried to push, and I think Gavrinovic scored, but he was on offside. There was loads of offsides, and they were rushing, and it was too late. So they made a big mistake by clinging onto 1-0, and 1-0 is never safe, because you can always concede a goal, it's not that hard, and that's what happened to Switzerland. I think Switzerland was better, but maybe that draw can give Wales like a team builder for the next game against Turkey, because Wales has some tough games coming up. Turkey and Italy. We know Italy is on fire now.
100%. Yeah, they played really well. I'd still have Italy to win this group. I think they're sort of on course now to get into the knockout stage as group winners, and perhaps I can see Wales coming second. Really, I think they, if they can get points from their last two games, then I can easily see them going through as group runners up, and it depends on who they play in the next round, I guess, in terms of how they do in the knockout stages.
Yeah, I definitely see Wales beating Turkey for sure. So I don't think they've got anything to worry about. I think that they'll definitely get through.
100%.
I think it's difficult to call. I think if Gareth Bale plays well, and I think if Wales play well, then yeah, they can get past Turkey. Shouldn't be too difficult.
I think Turkey will win against Wales. Okay, guys, so that's Group B done. Let's move on to Group C. Belgium versus Russia. I think we already discussed Finland's game, Finland-Denmark. Let's move on to Belgium-Russia 3-0. Romelu Lukaku opened the net. Do you guys think that he might win the Golden Boot?
I'm not sure about Golden Boot. I feel like I can see a French player sort of doing that. Whether it's Olivier Giroud or Benzema, depends who plays, I suppose. But Belgium were convincing. They're kind of it's might be a controversial thing to say, a boring team, if you know what I mean. They're not an exciting team to watch, but a bit like England. But they get the job done and they win games, so that's what you need. And Russia, they're not a bad side, but they're a side they expect to beat Belgium would, I think. So I think they'll be pleased to get through that game and hopefully now get into the knockout stages. So yeah.
I think, in answer to your question, Pete, I think Lukaku has a chance. Absolutely, he's a great striker. But I think Chris, has a really good point. I think Kylian Mbappe or Antoine Griezmann could catch fire, and they might be able to win the Golden Boot.
Not Raheem Sterling.
But actually,
You never know.
The guy for Slovakia today, no, not Slovakia, Czech Republic, isn't he leading the Golden Boot now? 2 goals.
Yeah, I bet he is.
But let's be honest. They
He's
played
from halfway
Scotland.
line.
They played Scotland.
Yeah, I'm going to ask, is obviously different leagues and different kind of skill levels. If a player plays well in a worse league, like objectively, it's a worse league, surely then they have to do better in a worse league to kind of, I just wondered how that's measured.
I guess that's true. If they got like a worse group, I guess, in theory, then it's easier for them. But
like for
example, don't get to the final.
But for example, France, they have like two opponents, so I don't think Mbappe will score many goals against Germany or Portugal, whereas Lukaku can score a few goals against Denmark or Finland.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
If you listen to the English media, I think that Calvin Phillips is going to win it. I think he's the best thing since sliced bread now. Everyone seems to think he's the greatest player to walk the earth. Pele better watch out. I think he's got Calvin Phillips on his toes. But with Belgium, a good side, and they got to the semi-finals of the World Cup, obviously in 2018, and the quarterfinals of the Euros in 2016. So they're a good side, and they can expect it to go far. I think.
Were you surprised that they beat Russia in Russia, in St. Petersburg, 3-0? Did you expect them to maybe struggle a little more? They breezed through them, basically.
Me, I didn't really expect them to struggle. I feel like everything in the World Cup, Russia had home advantage, and they did okay. They got to the round of 16, I think, and lost to the quarterfinal, actually, and then lost to Croatia. But they're not an amazing team, and it's not games being played in Russia, but it's not like a home tournament, so it feels like the atmosphere isn't really there. I mean, if you think of the atmosphere like in England around 2018 World Cup, it's not just it being at home. It's the kind of thing where people throw beer in the air and all that sort of thing. Everyone sort of gets behind the team.
It should have been in one country. I don't like the Euro being in 11 countries or however it is. It should be in one country. I think, it should be in England.
We've been waiting for a while, haven't we? Yeah, shame.
Yeah. Since
25 years.
1996.
In 4 years it's going to be in Germany. The next one.
Is it?
That'll be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Is it most of our like after the group stages? Most of ours up to a certain stage are in England, though, right, guys?
Most
I
of
think
them,
so.
most of them are in Wembley. Like the semi-finals and finals is in Wembley.
That's very good if we're involved in
I
it.
think
Wow.
England will only play one game in Rome, and the rest is in Wembley if they make it to the final. You know.
Yeah.
That's a big if, though, Pete.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a big if, though. If we make it to the final, I'm not sure if we will.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
It's Italy, Belgium seem dangerous. We have to wait till tomorrow to see Germany in action against France.
yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to.
Well, can I just say, I was just going to say that, do you guys think that Denmark can still get through with Belgium? In Group B?
Yes,
I think so. I think they'll beat Russia.
But to be fair, I think they can beat Russia, but Finland is already on 3 points. I don't think Denmark will beat Belgium, though. Yeah. Let's move on to Group C now, which is Austria, North Macedonia. I think we can do a quick sum up of this game. It wasn't an interesting game. Both teams, well, kudos to North Macedonia, the first tournament, Goran Pandev with a goal, but Austria, disappointing. They're gonna lose the next 2 games, I'm pretty sure.
Who, Austria, for winning?
Yeah, against North Macedonia.
Yeah, it's against North Macedonia, James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see how Ukraine played and Netherlands? They don't have a chance.
That was the best match of the tournament, 3-2.
I told you, Ukraine. Watch out for Ukraine.
Yeah, I was going to say not long. Well, you got Wales, Switzerland, and you've got Netherlands, Ukraine, which were close. But a lot of these other games were very one-sided, weren't they? That we saw recently.
Yeah, I suppose waiting for the group of death now with France and Germany and
That's
Portugal, where
tomorrow,
it's really
isn't
going to hot up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
What
That's
about
gonna where it's going to hot up.
What about the Netherlands Ukraine game? I think we have to stop a minute for that game because, as James said, it was the best game so far in the tournament. It took 5 minutes for Netherlands to score 2 goals, and it took 2 minutes for Ukraine to score 2 goals, and they came back from 2-0 down. Amazing.
Yeah, and then Denzel Dumfries in the last 2 minutes.
A great goal, great strike from Yarmolenko. That
was a great goal.
Oh my god. Ukraine, I think.
I've always rated Yarmolenko. Liverpool wanted to sign him a few years ago, and then West Ham got him. Good player.
Yeah, I'm saying that obviously everyone knows how West Ham said that West Ham won the World Cup in 1966. But saying that they're going to say the same if Ukraine do well, and the same with Czech Republic. So I feel like that's on the cards. But it was a great player, and I feel like it was an amazing game. How it looked as if at about sort of 70 minutes, it was all sort of tied up, and I was going to walk it, but that's not what happened at all. And it was hard to turn off really because you didn't know what's going to happen next. It felt as if it was never really over. So yeah, they played really well.
It was a brilliant game. I think Ukraine can go far, but Netherlands also shown that they can be a lethal team. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Ukraine and Netherlands in the next games in the Euros. But now let's focus on today's games. Well, we talked about Czech and Scotland. Let's move on to Poland and Slovakia.
Oh, Pete, it's your team.
Awful. What?
I bet. Yeah, red card as well. It was looking really good, I felt, until they got that red card. They had a really good spell of play. It was 1-1, and you felt that they could have sort of gone on to win the game. But after it went down to 10 men, it all just switched, and then that was it. And I've got a bet on them as well, so I'm not too pleased. But
yeah, I think. Well, basically, we dominated, but we went lethal at all. I think our squad is really old right now. The defenders, especially. We also have 2 strikers injured, Milik and Piontek. So basically, Lewandowski has to do everything on his own, which doesn't help. So there's no excuse. We should have beat Slovakia. Basically, I think we are out of the group of competition. If we cannot beat Slovakia, there's no chance against Spain or Sweden.
Your dog's
Yeah,
in the
I love it.
background.
You can hear-
Oh, you got your
Yeah.
dog in the back. That's cute.
I love your
Bring
dog,
him,
Pete.
bring him to say hello.
You've got another member of the podcast. What's your
Bring him
dog's name,
over.
Pete? What's your dog's name, Pete? Oh, we can't hear you. Sorry.
he
But anyway,
mutes every
Looks
time
like
he
a
goes away.
looks like
Yeah.
a really nice dog.
Rocky.
Rocky. That's a
Oh,
great name.
nice.
Well, it
Rocky
was,
Balboa.
Amazing.
the name was already given to him when we got him. We didn't change it.
Oh,
Oh,
sounds
right.
good.
Okay.
Be
I
like
let him-
Blue
I let
Peter
him
now.
out.
We've got a Blue Peter pet.
The mascot.
Yeah.
It had
Sorry,
the
can you
right
mute
color.
me again?
It had
Get
the
my
right
collar.
color.
Not
It
sure
had the
if we can hear
same
you.
color to our logo, guys.
This is perfect. You're really on brand, Pete. Was that intentional? Have you bought that especially?
Yeah,
Put on you, Tom.
he's our Euros mascot.
yeah.
Exactly.
Great dog.
100%. Yeah. But
Anyway,
yeah,
so
with Poland, I feel like they're not out of it now. They did play okay, and if they can regroup and kind of and get themselves together for the next game against their next
Spain.
side, I think against Spain, yeah. Spain are not a bad side. They're a decent side, but they are a bit sort of past it now. They've got no players from Real Madrid who've not taken Ramos, which I think was a mistake.
Well-
So I sort of feel I'm not sure if they'll get through far. You know.
we need to see. Well, today Sweden and Spain is playing. I'm going to watch it in a minute. So it's going to be interesting. We see what form they are in. Anyway, so the last thing we're going to talk about is, well, tomorrow, Group F, the Dev group, the group everyone has been waiting. France versus Germany, and Portugal versus Hungary.
Mm.
What do you think, guys?
So I think that's going to be an awesome match. France Germany, isn't it? First match of the group.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I think it's probably going to be 1-1, but I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how Germany do, considering they didn't do well at the last World Cup and got knocked out in the group stages, which was really uncharacteristic of Germany, considering they normally get very deep into the knockout tournaments and get to the semi-finals or the final and got such a good record. So I think it'll be a really good game, and can't wait for that game. It's probably the game I'm most looking forward to, I think.
Do you think they'll follow that it's the first game? Do you think they'll be quite preserved, both teams, James, or anybody else wants to add? How do you think they're going to go into it?
I think France will go full in because there's Portugal in the group as well, so they cannot calculate because they have the European champions in the group as well. I think France will win it 2-1 because, well, Germany has the problems right now. They lost to North Macedonia in the qualifiers. Yeah, they beat Latvia in the friendlies, but it's Latvia, And France have a serious firepower now. I think most people expect them to win the tournament. They have to beat Germany. There's no other results are going to be disappointing from them.
Yeah, I feel like when people say it's a group of death, it is a tough group, and it's going to be really hard for all the teams. But beyond sort of exhaustion and playing all those sort of tough games, chances are all three will go through. All three of them are going to get at least 3 points. You'd say they're all going to be Hungary, so they get 3 points from that, and that's probably enough to get you through in third place. So chances are all three will go through. So yeah, it's a group of death, but I think it's not going to be like one team goes out and there's this sort of shock when Portugal are not in the knockout stages or France or Germany. But I'm looking forward to that game, France v Germany. I think Germany benefit from a strength in depth in their squad, and that's going to be really useful in the amount of games they've got to play. That's really going to kind of help them, I think. So I think people who are saying they might sort of go out in the group stage like they did in 2018, that's maybe not quite right, and they could do quite well, I think. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure. So I think you're muted again, Pete, but whatever you think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think,
It's going to
James?
be interesting.
Yeah, so I think that this France-Germany is probably my pick of the popcorn matches. I think this it'll set the tone for the group, I think. So whoever wins if they do, if there is a winner, I think it will really put them in a good position to qualify for the knockout stages. And I also think the Spain-Sweden game actually kicking off in a few minutes, that'll be interesting because Spain obviously aren't the team that they were when they won back-to-back Euros or the World Cup and the 2 Euros. They won 3 tournaments in a row. They're not the same team with Xavi and Iniesta. They don't have the same players that everyone so recognises. So I think that it'd be really interesting to see them tonight. And Sweden, obviously, without Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but they're still a very hard team to break down. So there's plenty still to come that we haven't witnessed yet.
I think I agree with you in terms of the popcorn matches. It's either Spain, Sweden today or Germany, France tomorrow.
I was just going to say I don't think Spain. I'm actually really rooting for Sweden in this game. I don't think Sweden are that bad personally, and I don't know. Like James was saying, I don't think Spain are as good as they used to be, and I'm definitely rooting for the underdogs in that game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sweden is a strong team, and I can only fear the next 2 games for Poland if we lose to Slovakia.
I mean, people have said that Sweden not taking Ibrahimovic is a mistake. I'm not sure. I feel like he's a lot past it, and he's a kind of player who is still kind of, he's plugging away. But really, is he really sort of world standard now? I'm not sure he is. I mean, he didn't actually qualify for the 2018 World Cup, I think. So I'm not sure if they'll get in really. I'm not sure if that's a big loss to them, and they could do quite well, I think.
Yeah, I do think there's a few other good matches actually, guys. I think that Denmark against Belgium, because Belgium obviously massive team, number 1 team in the world according to the rankings. So that should be exciting on Thursday at 5 o'clock. Italy plays Switzerland on Wednesday, and there's also England-Scotland on Friday. And Saturday, there's 2 big games on Saturday. There's your team, Pete, against Poland-Spain at 8 o'clock.
5-0 Spain.
Before that, Portugal, Germany on.
Turn to England fan. Always pessimistic, Pete.
Portugal, Germany, 5 o'clock on Saturday. Pessimistic, Pete.
Well,
yeah, I think those games in the group of death are the popcorn matches for me. Kind of big match of the week. But also England and Scotland, it's going to be a huge match. It's a rivalry, obviously, so it's going to be a big one, I think.
What do you think, Eddie? What's your popcorn match?
Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to Germany, France. I know I'm kind of, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We haven't seen many. Well, yeah, it's the first big fixture, isn't it? So yeah, and also, if I see a comment called "Pessimistic Pete," I'm gonna like it. So there you go. get the interactions going.
Yeah, we should get that up to top of the comments page.
I think it's more realistic, Pete.
Realistic, Pete. That doesn't have the same ring, does it?
England wants to win the Euros. I'll be just happy if Poland gets out of the group.
Be like a Scotland fan.
Anyway, thank you guys for coming along today. Thank you, Eddie, our editor, for first time showing up and being part of the podcast as well, in like not only in editing wise.
No worries.
Next week our team of the week will be Germany, so it'll be interesting. And well, thanks for watching, guys, and let's go and watch Spain versus Sweden.